Welcome to the Stats on Stats Pod. Yeah.
All right, so how are you today?
I'm doing well, thank you for having me.
What's going on?
Living the dream.
Man, it's been a while.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's been since your wedding.
How long ago was that?
So it was post-COVID,
Okay.
maybe 8 months after COVID.
Sure. Probably.
I don't think that's it, but it's okay.
I don't know.
We don't ever remember it.
God bless. God bless. What's up with that chain? Are you a rapper or what's the energy?
You don't want to know the story behind it.
I would like to know the story as long as it's PG-13.
I was in a place I shouldn't have been, and somebody was trying to make up some money to pay for an attorney.
Oh,
And-
cut this whole thing out. All right, I'm gonna stop you
That
right
went
there.
over my head. Go ahead, keep with your story.
We don't need power book 2. Let's get into it.
What?
All right. So, do you know what's about to happen before we actually jump into the podcast?
No.
You didn't read the one pager?
The email you sent me?
My brother, then you know the breakdown of what's about to happen. Oh,
Yes.
you're acting right now.
What are you talking about?
Anyway, okay. So what we're about to do is play That's My Jam 90s R&B edition. Yay! All right, so here are the rules. We're going to play 4 covers of different songs, all of them 90s R&B. You have until the end of the song to guess either the name of the song or the name of the artist. If you get both, it's totally a flex, but the points are the same. And when you're ready to guess, say pause, or you could just guess. It doesn't actually, no one ever follows that. So, are you ready to go?
I'm ready.
All right, Anthony, please play song number 1.
Everyone falls in love sometime. Sometimes it's wrong, sometimes it's right.
I'm not going to get this one.
For
What?
every win, someone
Is it
must
weird that I be
fail.
offended when people don't get
There comes
I'd be like, this is my jam. How come you don't know it?
when we exhale.
Okay, I'm going to give you a hint.
Hold on.
wait,
Is it
wait.
Waiting to Exhale on the soundtrack?
See, you got to give people time.
Shoot, baby.
Yes.
Shoot, 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 baby. Shoot, 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 baby. All you gotta
Not
do
Whitney.
is
Yes.
I'm going to be honest. This podcast was going to be 5 minutes if you Bye. All right. Yes, it's Whitney. All right. Exhale. Exhale for those of you who don't know. Is it exhale, shoot, shoot? Yeah,
Yes,
okay,
It
okay.
is exhale, yeah.
All right. Song number 2.
the way I feel for you, I can't describe.
Oh, this is the one you didn't know?
It's almost too intense to verbalize. Essentially, you're all I'm living for. And basically, each day I need you more. Have you ever felt so enamored, baby? That's how much I love you. All I need in this life, you see, is me and my boyfriend. Have you ever felt lost when you know you gotta leave me? How much I love yours and mine to the very end. Me and my boyfriend.
All right. So I'm going to give you a hint because I ain't know this one either.
It's a deep cut.
Right?
Deep cut.
All right. So Nick Cannon fumbled the bag.
Mariah?
Hey! All right. If you keep working, Nick, you might get her back. I don't know what 2025 holds for you, bro. All right. Song number 3.
Lately I've been thinking something's going
So
wrong.
all these are going to be
'cause you got
acapella?
an attitude.
Yeah.
Okay.
Copyright.
And you're not in the mood like you
It's Drew.
used to.
Drew Hill, right?
Girl, I can
Yes,
Hold
it
on,
is.
hold on.
It's
when I
not.
hold you in my arms. The feeling is not the same. Can I be the one?
Oh,
to
yeah, it's
blame?
not.
I don't wanna lose your love.
Shy?
I don't wanna.
I'm going to give you one more guess.
Ah, damn, I know the song.
It is a group.
True love is so hard to find.
Deanna, girl.
Right
Get it.
between your lips and mine, and mine.
Blackstreet.
Before
Hey! All right.
Without the melody, I gotta go deep into the well.
I mean,
Yeah.
there was a time that we used to try to just speak the lyrics. So
Ooh,
Yeah, so we have since upped our game. Shout out again, Kiana. All right, song number 4.
I was like peace in a groove on a Sunday afternoon. You were there, so was I, in the park 4th of July. I was chilling with my Kool-Aid when Miss Chili came to relay that you had a thing for me, finest thing you'd ever seen. I must admit to you, I've heard those lines a time or two, although for some apparent reason,
Anthony, you knew this one?
monkey lines are now in season. Lights off, lights on, I guess the groove is on. So I am digging the scene, digging on you, digging on me. Baby, baby, ooh, baby, baby. It's on like that, it's on like that. I gotta be in love or something like
got
that.
me on this one.
So, if it's not the right eye,
you're so funny.
really? Lisa left eye?
okay.
But you gave me the answer right there.
No, but like,
TLC.
there you go. I was like, we listened to Left Eye's like only album. Trust me, it was not Left Eye exclusively. No disrespect. R.I.P. R.I.P. All right, good job. He got 4 out of 4? 3 out of 4?
I mean, I feel like you got some of those.
Right?
I was feeling generous today. All right, so let's get into it. For those, if it's your first time, welcome. If you already know the vibes, welcome back. I'm Jordan, a.k.a. Jay, a.k.a. The Chosen One, a.k.a. Big Stepper, and I'm here with my co-host.
I am Tiffany B, and we are excited that you're here for an episode of the Stats on Stats podcast, where we get to talk to leaders in IT, cyber, technology spaces. Speaking of those leaders, we have somebody here with us today. We're going to let him tell you who he is, where he's from, where he is currently, what he does, and how long he's been in the space.
Thank you. Morning, good evening.
You forgot who you is?
Oh, I gotta say hi.
Oh,
to
these
everyone.
are, is this called a nicety? Is that what that's called? Greetings.
So I'm Hector Reyes. I'm from the Washington, D.C. area. Currently in the Tampa Bay area as a DoD contractor or as a cyber analyst, defensive cyber analyst.
Okay. How long?
A little over 4 years now, but I've been in the IT field for about 18, 19 years.
Gosh.
What part of DC are you from?
Northwest.
Okay.
Northwest and PG County. So I lived in both.
Which one did you live in longer?
I don't know. I moved down here 25, so I spent about 12 and 13. So I guess you could say the most time in PG County.
Why are you whispering?
Yeah, you are.
Oh, I'm sorry. I apologize.
I was like,
What's happening?
you don't want to tell people where you from? Like, you got stories or whatever? All right.
So
No,
look,
you know what
you
it
know
is.
what? Call me a PG County guy.
PG County? Say Maryland.
Maryland.
Oh, you're not really PG County then.
Oh, you want to say Maryland?
Yeah. I got a question before we get back on track. What is mumbo sauce? Is that how you say it?
It is the most delicious thing that you can ever have on your fried chicken wings, your fries, your fried rice. If you haven't had it, it is an experience.
Okay, wait. Last thing. Say carry out.
Carry out.
Okay, go ahead.
Get it together.
Back on track.
Get it together.
So how do you pronounce the name Darryl?
Daryl?
Daryl.
I knew he was going to say that.
Is
He probably says dog like Doug.
Dog.
Okay. Okay, anyway, we getting off track. All right. So, yeah, people know what you said. How many years?
In IT? 18, 20 years. I got in 2006.
And why did you do that?
I needed money. And it provided me a lifestyle I wanted to live. At the time, I jumped into the help desk. My first step, mostly a lot of people's first step in IT is going into the service desk. I did that for 2, 3, 4 years or something like that. Then I jumped into networking. I did that for about 4 years. Then the company I was working for, they outsourced the network to BT Telecom. So I had to find a way to keep, having money coming in the house. So they moved me into doing what's called You familiar with software called SAP?
Yes.
Yeah, so I became an SAP NetWeaver administrator for about a year and a half. And the company I worked for, their main thing was manufacturing. They went through a downturn, so they laid me off. Then I jumped into where'd I go next? I jumped into an ISP. I became their NOC manager. I did that for about a year. Then a hurricane. Also, let me give you some backstory. They provided wireless internet to in rural counties in Florida. So, the infrastructure, you can't really run wires to, you live here and then Tiffany lives 4 or 5 miles down. You're not going to run a cable, but you can point a direct point-to-point connection from a tower to her house to give her, broadband internet. So that's what they had. Forgot the name of the hurricane. It came in, knocked down a whole bunch of towers in central rural Florida. Gotta go. Laid off.
Dang.
Then I looked around for a bit and I landed in. Can I say the name of the companies here or
You can if you want to, but no pressure either.
It was a big beauty salon company that has beauty salons all throughout the United States. I became a IT manager for them, and I did that for about 6-7 months or something like that, and I didn't really like that. The politics of that is that management style, that management level. I don't have time for those games. So
I'm sorry. When I think of you working for a hair company, I feel like I'm like at Christmas. Did they give you like a box of Blue Magic? Pink lotion.
It's funny. They gave me a bunch of beauty products for hair and stuff like that, but they weren't made for people with this type of hair.
Okay, I got you.
I mean?
I got you.
So, but some of the stuff I still use to this day because it's pretty good. Just know it wasn't meant for us.
Okay, all right.
Then DoD came knocking around, and I had a cousin that kept telling me, "Hey, get into cybersecurity. It pays well. You've been doing networking for such a long time. Get into cybersecurity. You do it well. Your learning curve would be a lot less than someone who hasn't done networking or been in IT or anything like that." And I kept bucking at it. But here I am with a job that I'm not happy with. And I had a chance with this DoD company. They're like, "Hey, we can't get you into cybersecurity, but what we can do is get your clearance again." Because I got out of the military in 2005, and my clearance hadn't been active since 2005. So they reactivated my clearance, had to be a help desk role. Did that for a little bit, got my clearance, and as soon as my clearance came in, off to cybersecurity, and I've never looked back since.
Oh.
I didn't know you were in the military. What branch?
Army.
What'd you do?
We're supposed to say whore at this point, like whore at this point, right?
air assault.
Whatever.
What'd you do in the Army?
I was an intel analyst, 96 Bravo.
Really?
Yeah, Fort Huachuca.
Really? That's in Arizona?
Mm-hmm. Sierra Vista, Arizona.
Oh, wow. How long were you in Sierra Vista?
That's where I did my AIT at. So it was about 4 months, 16 weeks. And then I got stationed, of all places, right back home at Fort Meade.
Oh, wow. That's kind of a bummer, to be honest. Whenever I hear that, people being like, I joined the military to travel, and they're like, oh, yeah, now you're stationed 5 miles from home.
Yeah. I mean, I got to go to Korea and a couple other places, but it was always right back home.
Okay, right on.
Okay. All right. So I didn't hear you mention anything about anyone who might have inspired you along the way.
I'm glad you asked me that, right? So my cousin, he kept, pressing me to get into cybersecurity.
Yeah.
He worked for a couple 3-letter agencies, and then he kept pressing me down here to get in.
I need to talk to him.
Sure, I'll put you on to him. And the person that mostly guided me along the way of this cybersecurity path is the one person I gravitated towards the most when I reached the SOC, which would be your co-host, Tiffany. I was always asking her questions, though she didn't want to deal with me at the time because of COVID.
Oh, yeah. You were probably asking her questions, and she was like,
So the first person I met from the SOC, she was assigned to come get me at the visitor center. And she was like, come on, but keep your distance. She didn't want to get in the elevator. We're like, we're taking the stairs. And she's like, yo, the SSO office is over there. This is where we at. Deuces.
I'm surprised Tiffany, like when y'all met, she wasn't like, how long can you hold your breath?
No, she was, I mean, she was cordial.
Okay.
But she wasn't like, overly friendly because of the COVID. Everybody was scared of COVID at the time. But I gravitated to her because I looked around. I was like, all right, who looks like they know what they're doing here? I need to learn this job. I don't want to get fired. I don't want to get laid off. I've experienced that in the previous 2 jobs. I need to learn this because if this doesn't work out, I have to go somewhere else and do this. And cybersecurity at the time was, rapidly exploding. A lot of people were trying to get in the career field, and not a lot of places were trying to give someone without cybersecurity experience an opportunity. Luckily, the lady that I worked for, she was willing to give me a shot. Even though my interview was like 5 minutes long, she was like, hey, you're a body, you're willing to work at night, we'll bring you on, you'll learn there. And like I said, I gravitated towards her just because she was able to explain a lot of things, all right? And then she'll look at some cases and she'll be like, hey, why did you close this like that? What were you thinking? And I'm like, I don't know. Nobody explained it, how to look at this. And she took the time, and it didn't always click, right? So I would go back and I'm like, damn, I know what she told me to look at, how to look at it, but I forgot just like that. But I'm not going to ask her again to repeat herself because she just spent 45 minutes to an hour and a half explaining to me how to do something. I'm going to figure this out and then come back. And I did that. I kept asking, hey, how did you do this? Why you look at it like this? Why you close it like this? Tell me where'd you find this? And it could have been annoying, but she always was patient, and I'll always be thankful for the time you took to explain these things to me, because eventually, when it clicks, it freaking clicks, right? One of the biggest things that she will harp on me again, and I'm only speaking from a cyber analyst perspective at this point. When you learn how to understand why this alert comes in, you're kind of like 75% of the way of resolving that issue. I had some others along the way that really helped me, anybody that take the time, but there's a lot of gatekeeping in cybersecurity as well. People feel like, I'll tell you what I did, but I'm not going to give you a granular view of how I looked at it, because they feel like you might be coming for their job, even though we both have the same job.
Y'all so insecure. Cut it out. Go see a therapist or something. Get right.
So and I try to take what Tiffany did with me and relay it to the people that come in, right? Because if you come in tomorrow and I can show you what I know, you make my job that much easier because you take a load off of me.
Bruh. She said, I'm going to teach you so I can delegate.
Like, I'm just saying, like that, that's one of the things I never understand is like, why don't you want, okay, everybody doesn't understand something in the way that you do. They might not learn it as quickly as you do, but at the end of the day, if you can take the time to teach something to a person on the level that they're on and get it so that it resonates with them, then it does. It helps the entire team.
100%.
And people just, I don't understand. It can be frustrating to some people, I think, to teach somebody something because they're not getting it as quickly as they are. My wife is one of those people. But, you know what I mean? Like, but to understand the value of being able to give them or empower them, it also empowers the whole team.
So there's many ways to skin a cat, right? Some people, you learn one way, I learn one way. If you ask me to read a book and then apply it, good luck, right? I can read the book, I can comprehend the book, but taking it from the book and applying it, it's not going to happen. I'll read the book. Now that I read the book, show me how you do it, or walk me through how you do it with me driving. And now, I start getting that muscle memory on that. That's how I learn, right?
You know what's so funny about that is, like, when I ask people questions, I expect them to adapt to my learning style. But when people ask me questions and they don't get the way I teach, I'd be like, I can't work with you. I'm sorry. Go find somebody else.
Ooh, there is honesty in this room today.
Let me ask you a question. Do you? I'm sure you guys have both have to deal with networking before, and learning subnetting, right? Do you guys do subnetting the same way?
I don't know. We don't talk about that at dinner. Girl, how you carry the two?
So I had to learn like 7 or 8 different ways of subnetting until one method resonated with me.
Yeah.
And once it did, I was like, okay, I understand this. But I spent about 12, 13, 14 hours doing a whole bunch of different other formulas. And then that one formula resonated with like, okay, I get it. So again, different way. Everyone's, let's call it love language for learning. Everyone
I get that because, like, I remember when I first started getting into kind of like, I guess, IT tech, I would read something, especially, you know, because with DoD, you have to hurry up and get certs, right? So I would read something and be like, but then it'd be like later on when I'm doing the job, I'm like, yo, that makes sense now. Yeah. So, yeah, I feel that.
And it's crazy when the light bulb goes off, especially with cyber defense and you're working with SIM tools. Security, information, event management, or whatever.
They keep whispering to us.
I'm like, wait, look. I'm like, that's how you tell somebody who works in DoD because y'all be talking all day, but y'all be like, yeah, and so my cat had to get surgery.
So, when you learn to look at an event, a lot of people, and I call Tiffany all the time, and I'm like, can you believe nobody knows how to look at the rules? And it's frustrating, especially when you told them the first thing you should do is understand why this came here. But people look at it. I'll give you an example.
He telling secrets again.
No, I'm gonna give you an example. You don't know how many times I've seen this. We get an alert saying, "Hey, there was a shutdown command ran," right? And you go, people close it, and then they're like, shutdown.exe is not a malicious process. Closing.
Who shut it down?
What shut it down?
Who? What? When? Where? But a lot of that comes with like
experience,
not just experience, but a gap in understanding processes as a whole. You know what I mean? Like, cause something funny could come up in command line, but how do you know it's funny if you don't know anything about PowerShell or Linux?
And
And
that's why the rule, I used to tell him the rule is important because PowerShell works, but should PowerShell really be reaching out to the web like this? So,
right. So it's funny, right? Because yes, shutdown.exe is not a malicious command, but we have tools, some called EDRs. You can actually put the machine name in there, the execution, and look at the process tree. And now you're like, I mean, it's pretty much automated for us. And you can follow the process tree. Okay, this caused this, the cause is, the cause is, the cause is, the cause is. Okay, this looks like it's normal. It should be normal. If McAfee caused it, then I'm not going to question McAfee 9 out of 10 times unless something weird comes up, right? Like you're going to do, update a bat file for McAfee or something like that. But then if you see, credential dump along the way, you're like, okay, hold on now. This is that 1 out of 10 times. You're like, this is weird. Mm-hmm. But 9 out of 10 times, it's things that need to be tuned.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And we're poor at tuning as cybersecurity analysts.
Look. I can't tell you how many times. Hold on, let me. I can't tell you how many times I've seen people use like out of the box rules and be like, these are too noisy. Well,
you might want to figure out what's happening in there so you can get rid of the ones that don't make.
Or you have lazily written rules.
Yep.
Catch everything. So
one of the best ones I'll see is look for, I think it's one of the Mimikatz alerts, right? It's .pfr, wildcard, and then a wildcard in front of it. But all I was looking is a dot .der, I think it is. But you have a wildcard in front and a wildcard in back. So no matter if it's a legit certificate or not, it's going to fire.
Yeah.
It's just going to fire. It may not be a certificate. It could just be part of a word.
Yeah.
And it's going to fire.
Yeah, that's insane. Real quick, can I go backwards?
Absolutely.
What is a cybersecurity analyst exactly?
That's a good one. So, cybersecurity analyst is a guy or girl that sits at a desk, looks at a security event information management tool, and analyzes all the tools. Okay, let me rewind. You have your defensive cybersecurity analyst, offensive, and a whole bunch of different types. From my perspective, a defensive cybersecurity analyst, we monitor every event that comes into a SIM, and we make a determination based on our analysis on whether this is malicious or not. We're not sitting in a dark room talking about, they're jumping from one server to the next. That's TV. We're literally looking at hundreds of events that come in daily and determining whether this is a malicious event or not. We're doing administrative tasks, scanning VIPs, social media, looking at insider threats within the enterprise, whether they're writing a book during company time or, moving files during company. Yeah, you'd be surprised what people do.
I'm not surprised at all at this point in my life.
The audience might be surprised.
I mean, government or not, even private companies, right? Because I've spoken with other cybersecurity analysts, and you'd be surprised how many people jump onto Facebook, Instagram, whatever social media, and use their chat feature and talk real spicy on these, thinking they're not being monitored.
Look at your face.
I was over here like, what you talking about on social media at work? Like,
Oh man,
that's crazy.
Well, companies, enterprises have gotten to a point now where they do keyword searches, and and it's automated now, right? They have automated tools that look for all this. So I don't know if I should give this example. You might edit this one out. When I first started at the SOC that I'm working at, I wanted to look at a certain sporting goods store, right, to see if I could find something.
I remember that.
So I typed in this sporting goods.
Dicks. Typed in dicks.
I did. And I got a big pop-up that said, this is, inappropriate, whatever. And then I typed in the name of the sporting goods store. Well, the next day when I came into work, the team, I guess they call them the hunters on our team, one of the head guy came in and he sat down. He's like, well, he came in, hey, who's Hector? Like me. He came in, he sat down. He was like, listen, I don't care what your sexual preference is, but you can't be looking this up at work. And I looked at him, and he's like, you just can't. I was like, that's right. Like my face turned red. I'm light bright, and it turned red. And he was joking because he saw, obviously he went into the same and he looked at what I was searching. Then he saw what I was looking for, but he felt like, hey, I'm going to mess with this guy, and But you got to be careful what you put into these computers because someone is always watching, whether it's government or private enterprise. Security is the evil that no company wants to pay for, but is a must.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so one thing that we always try to do is find out like what you're doing to keep current, right? Because we talk all the time about how things are changing in technology and cyber and IT. What do you do to keep yourself fresh to make sure you understand what is happening in those alerts?
So I'm constantly scanning cybersecurity websites, looking at CISO.gov and stuff like that to understand what threats are out there. And I'll write up a paper on it.
You be writing papers?
Yeah, threat advisories and cyber alerts.
What?
I know, right? I used to not do those. I used to be scared to do that. But I write it up, make sure I have an understanding on it, And a lot of these threats that are published on these things, they sometimes include IOCs or, indicators of compromise. And you can use that to start, doing your own hunts to see if these ever hit your network in the last 90 days or so, or based on how long this threat has been present. Along with that, you take courses like I just did the Elastic data presentation. I did Microsoft Azure security. I'm not a big fan of taking courses anymore, but I still do it because I don't want to get left behind.
Let's talk about that, because that's one of the things that you and I have had this discussion about before. You don't necessarily love, like we always talk about passion. You don't necessarily love what you do, but you found a way to make sure, like, one, I try to stay current, and two, like, I stay on training. So you want to talk about that at all?
Yeah. So this might come but surprise everyone. I don't like cybersecurity. I don't like IT work at all.
He's just kidding. He loves it.
No. But I'm gonna tell you what. I'm gonna tell you why I do it. I found that in IT, specifically cybersecurity now, right? It finances a lifestyle that I want to live, and it, affords me to be able to provide for my family, which is number one, most important to me. Number two, I actually understand it. Something I don't like, I understand, right? But with that being said, just because I don't like it, it doesn't mean I don't want to progress in my career field. So in order to progress in my career field and not to be left behind as well, I don't want to become a dinosaur. I'm getting older. I'll be 45 on the 28th of this month. I got to keep learning, because these youngsters are coming in already, with newer and brighter ideas, and they learn this stuff much faster than what I learned it. Or how I learned it.
As I told Jordan, they have a faster processor than we do.
They do.
When did you say that? Don't know. No child has a faster processor than me.
This is why she can't teach people stuff. Okay, anyway, sorry.
So what I learned is, whether I do it for the money to provide for my family, or I want to do it for the love of it, like you guys really actually love it. But one thing I found out is, whether it's for the money or for the love of it, you got to be all in. You can't be 1 foot in, 1 foot out, because you're not going to succeed. Two, you're going to fall behind, and you're going to see yourself out of this career field. So you have to be all in. You got to be committed to learn. A lot of people, the phrase I've always told you, a lot of people want cybersecurity money, but don't want to do cybersecurity work. And when it comes to that, you see it day in, day out. You look to the left, somebody's on Amazon. You look to the right, somebody's on YouTube. You look up ahead of you, somebody's watching a movie. While you're doing the actual work that matters. And I used to think managers don't see this, right? But they see it. They see it, and they know. And there's a football coach that used to coach for the Buccaneers that says, "I'll tolerate you till I can replace you." And I've seen it.
Oh, I like that. Make that a real. I like that.
What?
So, and by default, where I work at, I ended up becoming a shift lead. Boy, was that different from being an analyst, because now I have to be a mediator and a babysitter for adults and their feelings.
You're used to that, though. You were in the Army.
I'm dealing with Air Force folks now. It's a totally different.
You're so funny.
They're sensitive. I'm gonna give you an example.
Oh, Lord.
So we have a process where we get this report and they say, "Hey, we've seen that this is out. Somebody is using commercial email to do some information that shouldn't be out there, to pass along some information that shouldn't be out there." And, we're supposed to ask for more information on that, and we send it to another team to, hey, provide us more information on this specific issue that happened. And I'm training someone. I'm like, "Hey, Jordan, you take this email, you read it. If you think it pertains to us, boom, you ask for it. You take the number and you ask, hey, please provide us more information on this." And he goes, "I don't know what that team is. I just know the name of it. Let's just call it, I don't know, the Give Information Team," right? I'm trying to be like...
That's good.
Yeah, we know.
Be discreet.
We know.
Yeah.
So you send it there. Then the next day, they send us information with what we need. So he goes, he just retired Air Force, 20 years. He goes, "Who are they and what do they do?" Now, I got a Marine sitting to my left. She got out of the Marines, and then I got a retired E8. And when he said this, "Who are they and what they do?" they said, "Oh, shit." They kicked back, right? Mm-hmm. I looked at them, because you don't need to know who they are and what they do. You just need to take this information, pass it to them, ask them, "Hey, give me more information on this," and that's it. Don't worry about what they do. So my response was, "I don't know who the F they are. I don't know what they do, and I don't care what they do. Our job is to send this information to them and asked them for more information. He went to my boss and told him that I was a jerk because the way I responded. So I had to learn. I guess this is management, not necessarily cybersecurity is. You can't respond to everyone like they're in the Army.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, you did sound like a jerk.
No, but it was honest. I don't know who they are or what they do. I don't care. My job is to take this, move it over there. They give it back. Is it important to know?
I'm over here thinking to myself, if he would have talked to me like that, who you talking to?
Are you familiar with Veronica on TikTok?
Nah.
Hey, Veronica, do you have a minute? The little stick figure?
Nah.
And she tells her boss, no, I don't have a minute. No, she said, Veronica, do you have a second? No, I don't have a second. You've asked me for a second every day I come to work. I don't have any more seconds for you.
Dang.
But with this case, there are many different personalities in cybersecurity, right? I'm a little different personality from everyone else. I didn't do 20 in the Army. My background is, how do I put this? It's rough. It's a little rough around the edges, right? There are a lot of weird folks that we work with.
Unique.
No, they're weird because I look at them and I'm like, But you have to learn to work with these people, and some of them are really, really smart.
Okay, so my question is, you transitioned into cybersecurity. Can you give us a little bit of background on how you made that transition in? Like in terms of, were there any specific courses, any specific certifications, resources?
100%. So when I got that, before I got to that job with that beauty salon company, I was unemployed because I got laid off. And for those that live in Pinellas County in Florida, and Florida has it throughout the entire Florida, there's a program called the WIOA program. They'll pay for your training and your certs. You just have to look it up. They will pay. You get up to, like, at the time I was doing it was like $10,000 a year for training.
Wow.
And you take it. I got my Net Plus, Security Plus, CEH, all through that. They paid for it all.
Wow.
We'll make sure we have that resource on the video. Anthony over there, like, yes.
Yeah, and then I went to New Horizons to get these certs, right? And then New Horizons will also, that the recruiter over there, Debbie, she helped me out a lot. She was the one that put me on to the DoD contracting company at the time, and man, it worked out great because I'm here now.
Awesome.
Okay. When you think about being able to explain to people that you care about why you chose IT if you didn't like it, what would you tell people?
Why I chose IT if I didn't like it?
Yeah, you chose IT, but clearly you felt like it was going to help you and your family. So why choose IT?
So I watch trends, right? And trends should dictate how you move in IT. If you see that at the time when I joined, networking was a big thing. So, okay, I can get paid doing networking. Let me go over here and learn this so I can get paid so I can provide for my fam, right? Okay, then after networking, it was cybersecurity. Cybersecurity gradually started gaining steam, all right? Well, my cousin kept pressing me for the last 3 or 4 years. Let me jump into this now, especially since this WIOA program is going to pay for it. I have no excuse not to do it, and at the time, the starting salaries were astronomical compared to everything else. So I was like, what do I have to lose?
Okay, so you're watching trends? What do you see, like, for the future of cybersecurity right now?
I see a lot of automation and AI. AI is going to be the cause of a lot of people shifting career fields. If they don't shift into AI will definitely start doing more analysis work. Now, that doesn't mean that there won't be any more cybersecurity jobs. You can go into threat hunting. You can go into forensics. You can go into cyber intel. There's just a lot of ways that you can continue going into cybersecurity, but an analyst work is going to shrink, as they're already shrinking the salaries of cybersecurity analysts because everybody's jumped. If you didn't catch the bus 4 or 5 plus years ago, they're bringing salaries down dramatically.
Cybersecurity can be pretty stressful, right? Yes. You've already talked about trying to be able to balance being a team lead and also being, able to do your work as an analyst. What do you do when you're outside of the office and you need time to just regenerate for yourself?
Oh man, I'm a pretty hefty guy, so like I love this to barbecue. So, I go home on the weekends. I barbecue, spend time with my two little Rottweiler Yorkies. And, and the wife. I live, 3 minutes from the beach. I'll either go to the beach. But I go a lot and spend time with family, to be honest. Hang out with family, drink beer, listen to music and barbecue food. Like, that's my way of unwinding. One of the biggest things I do when I leave work to unwind, though, you ever ride home and don't listen to music, the radio's off, just quiet, just riding. That 30, 45-minute ride home of just pure silence, it works wonders for unwinding to come home. When I finally walk in through the door, I'm happy. No matter what type of stress I had, we'll have red team events, and that's pretty stressful. You've been through it, and it's always like, hey, fine. But when you only have 2-3 people that know what to look for, it gets pretty stressful, and you need a way to release. And my release is spending time with the family, hanging out, playing cards, dominoes, whatever it is. Vacations too. Vacations work wonders.
If you could change something about like training and being able to provide empowerment for your team, what would you do?
I'd remove most of the administrative tasks that we have and focus on training people specifically on the meat and potatoes of what we do, which is learning how to do analysis.
What would you use? What would you provide as resources?
Hands-on resource. I always found that having someone next to you sitting there so people can ask questions. A video is good. A bookwork is good. But you need that human interaction because if I say ABC equals, EFG, right? But you may have a question. You can't ask a video a question. Can't ask the book a question, right?
So are there any platforms that you use that give you kind of like that lab experience that you would recommend?
There are many available, but I use humans as my resources because they've experienced it. They lived it. So I would come to you, hey, do this. And you always tell me, hey, I lab stuff. But you explain to me, once I understand how you look at it, I can go and look at it. I may not look at it how you look at it. I might find my own avenue, but I'll use what you showed me as a springboard to do what I need to do. I found out that human interaction is the best way to teach someone from my perspective.
Okay. Networking and mentorship.
One of the best things that IT has provided me, which is something that I enjoyed about the Army. I got to travel. I got to see places that I never seen before. On the private sector, I've been to Mexico, Brazil. I've been to Europe, Asia. With the DoD, I've gotten to go to the Middle East. I've never been to the Middle East. And, I love to travel. I love to see different, cultures, different people. And that's one of the things with IT. It's not only the benefit of the money, but if you're open and willing, you can travel and see the world, right? Because there's jobs to be done. You don't necessarily have to work for a foreign company. You can work here, and somebody might have a headquarters in London, and you'll travel to London, because they may want you for a team event. I love to travel, and I love the opportunities that IT provides me with that.
Gotcha. Okay. Do you want to do the scenario?
No, you could do it. Go ahead.
All right, you're at the dining hall. You're eating. Oh, no, you're barbecue.
No.
Do the question. Oh, man.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. You can do it. There's no one way to ask it.
You're doing a barbecue for the community. Mm-hmm. And while you're cooking, a young guy comes up to you and he says, "Hey, Mr. Hector, I heard that you work in cybersecurity and I want to do cybersecurity as well. What should I do to get into cybersecurity?"
I think the three of us have actually experienced this question before, this scenario, right? Different setting, but we've all been asked this question. You know what the first thing I tell them to do is look for the free resources that there are out there. You can get your A+. I wouldn't necessarily recommend that unless you've never turned on a computer. Your Net Plus and Sec Plus, you can get free training on it through a course called Professor Messer. It's free. Videos. All you got to do is spend the $35-$40 for a book, or you can spend $120 for his course. catalog. And that's free training. You can watch it over and over and over and over again. I always tell someone, get the book. It's like 30-something chapters. Read one chapter a day, and you will get through the book. You don't have to spend 2-3 hours a day studying. Read one chapter a day. Go back and read it again. Now you're ready to go take your test.
How many pages are the chapters?
I mean, even if you got 30, 40, 20, 30 pages, it takes 1 hour to read that stuff.
Okay, because he was like, you don't have to take 2-3 hours. I'm like, if it's a 60-page chapter, like.
I mean, so you read. I'll read again. I'm not the brightest learner in the world, but I'll read a chapter and I won't comprehend it at all. That's fine. I'll move on the next day. I'll move on to the next part, to the next chapter. Then I come back, and the second time I read it to comprehend.
Okay.
And once I start comprehending, again, I'll ask questions. I'll reach out to people who are actually in the field. Hey, I don't understand the CIA triad. I read it. I get what they're saying, but I don't understand it. How does it? And then they'll explain it to me in their words, how they see it. And then I ask someone else, and then they'll explain it in their words. And I'm like, I start putting the pieces together. Okay, all right, bing, light bulb went off. All right, I think I got it.
That's how you are. I was going to say, like, whenever people ask, how did Tiffany pass the CISP? I'd be like, well, she read the same stuff for 6 months. And then they don't want to hear that. That's not like a 20-minute video I can watch. Oh, man.
I tell anyone that wants to get into this field, they're like, well, what about brain dumps? I'm like, listen, the brain dumps are there. Use them to help you understand, right? Don't use it to just pass the test. If you need to pass the test just to get a certificate, okay, maybe I get it. But once you sit down at that desk, if you don't understand the concepts and theories of your job, you're going to fail. All right. And then some people are poor test takers. You can understand the material, but you're a poor test taker. Okay. And maybe in that case, fine. But that should not be your go-to, right? That should be your last resort if you cannot pass the test. But if you're passing labs, if you're doing well on the labs, you can do everything with your eyes closed because, you've practiced it over and over and over again. You just can't test well. I know I got to choose my profanity well. I know this dummy who, listen, this guy is dumb. I mean, This guy is dumb. But you know what he can do? He can ace and test. You put any cyber material in front of him, he can ace that test. If you give him a book and a test, he will ace it. But if you ask him to apply it from the book to his everyday job, a 5-year-old child has a better chance of succeeding.
Yeah. Could you imagine like sitting on an interview panel and being like, can you explain the CIA triad? D.
Yeah. So, use the free resources that are out there to help you learn. And then reach out to people who are actually in the field. I don't care how many people close a door on me. I'm going to eventually find somebody that's going to open that door and take the time to say something to me. I don't get discouraged with no.
Real quick, I got to backtrack. Test dumps are unethical. Don't use those.
We can omit that from that.
I'm not kidding. Don't use those. Like, they are real. Like, I'll acknowledge that. They are real. They exist. Don't use them at all. Okay, let's go ahead and wrap it up. Oh, I'm supposed to do it? Okay, I'm sorry. I keep missing this. Okay. Hector, thank you so much for joining us today.
Thank you for having me.
We appreciate you. We know time is currency, so we hope you feel like yours is well spent.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
I got to see you two guys again. It's been a long time.
It has been.
And your face hasn't changed that much, though.
The beard is grown.
I mean, hey. But yeah, truly, thank you for being a part of this.
Oh, thank you for having me again. I really appreciate it. I got to speak my perspective.
Awesome. And if people want to contact you, connect with you on LinkedIn or anything, where should they go?
They can reach me at LinkedIn. I get my LinkedIn page up.
You don't know your name?
Hector Reyes. I was actually going to give out the.
You got the link. Okay, yeah. All right.
Shout out Destination Guyana for this for the songs, by the way.
Yeah, I'm just under LinkedIn. I guess I can provide you the link and you can put it in your thing.
Yeah, but some people don't watch.
Oh,
some people listen on Apple Podcasts.
Spotify.
Oh, okay.
And, yeah.
So LinkedIn.com/Hector-Reyes-
A whole bunch of numbers.
Yeah, 68.
Bruh, we gonna put that on the screen.
Okay.
Hector Reyes
Yeah.
on LinkedIn.
Look for the gold chain.
Yeah, as I'm getting older, I'm losing my vision.
All right.
I saw that. I'm like, where your glasses at? You.
I'm in denial. I've been like this for about a year. I look at my phone like an old man from a distance and stuff like that. I've been in denial. I need to go get glasses.
Yes, you do.
Okay. Well, this was fun. Thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
Everybody who's out there, thank you so much for being a part of this. Whether you listened, whether you watched, we're excited about all of it and we appreciate the support. We'll see you next time.